Hi, my name is Thomas Roberts. Today I'll be showing you how to make a chicken parmesan from scratch. We'll only be using a couple of ingredients, just chicken breast, panko breadcrumbs, a few seasonings, a store-bought sauce, and mozzarella cheese, and a couple of eggs. And that's really all you need to make a really good meal.
Alright, so step one is going to be butterflying the chicken breast. Here I have one chicken breast that I already prepped and cleaned beforehand. So the best way to butterfly is you want to find pretty much the center of mass for the piece of chicken. And then I like to start in the middle. And you want to be careful when inserting the blade, and then you just want to go down the length of the chicken breast. And you will repeat for the other side. And when it's done, it folds open like this, and you can just follow that fold and split it the rest of the way. And this way, you'll end up with two really nice thinner pieces of chicken from just one larger breast. So I'll set one of those aside for now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some parchment paper. I'm going to cover the cutting board with the parchment paper. I'm going to take one of the pieces of chicken, put it on top. I have some plastic wrap here. That just makes this easier, keeps things from spraying all over the place. And then you're going to take a tenderizer and you're going to hammer out. Once your chicken breast is probably about 1/2 to 1/4 inch thick, that's when you'll know it's done. You just want it, it'll get quite larger than when you started. Step 2. So after we have pounded out the chicken, we're going to go on to the battering process. So here I have 2 eggs pre-scrambled, and then I've got about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs. You may need more or less depending on how much chicken you end up using. You can take one of your chicken breasts, I'm going to put it in the egg, just a light wash. It up, take it up, let it drip, drain some of that out, and then you're going to transfer it into the panko. And then what you're going to do is you're going to press it down into the panko, and you want to hear it crunch a little bit. That's going to break up some of those breadcrumbs and give a bunch of nice, really nice edges for the frying. So you're going to do that both sides, kind of massage in the breadcrumbs, and then you're going to go back into the egg. Let it drip, and then back into the breadcrumbs again. So this is called double breading, and this just adds an pretty much just guarantees that you're going to get that crisp crunch in some of those places on that chicken. So the best way to tell if your pan is hot enough is to wet your fingers a little bit and then sprinkle that water onto the pan. Oh, messed up. Sprinkle that water onto the pan, and if the water droplets start to dance around like that, then you know your pan is hot enough. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to add about 1/2 inch of neutral oil into the pan. This is vegetable oil. And then we're going to let that sit in there and heat up, and then once the top of it starts to shimmer, that's when you know you're ready to start cooking. Your oil is ready to heat. Then you're going to take one of your pieces of chicken, carefully using some tongs, gently lay it into the pan. Try and get it centered over the heat so you get the most even cooking possible. You'll start to notice almost immediately the edges of the chicken are starting to turn a little white. When you see that white start to actually creep up onto the top, that's one way, easy way to tell that one side is done. So this piece is looking just about ready to flip. So what we're going to do is very carefully take it, hopefully try not to splash any oil, and then very gently flip it over onto the other side. You'll see it has this really nice golden brown color on the other side. You'll want this to cook it shouldn't take nearly as long as the first side, as it'll go by very quick. But pretty much the same strategy for cooking. You want to look for those little brown bits around the bottom. And the best strategy for cooking chicken is the safe temperature is 165 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's best to cook your chicken just below that temperature, because once you take it out of the pan, it will continue to cook for a few minutes. So my advice is to cook it until it's about 160. And that way you can ensure that you're not drying out the piece of chicken. So once the chicken has reached temperature, you're going to remove it from the heat and onto a dry rack. We're then going to take some of our tomato sauce, marinara, whatever, and we're going to put it on top. Just a nice thin layer. You don't want to soak the chicken, but you do want to get some of that in there. And then we're going to take some mozzarella and we're going to lay it on top. And then we're going to place this under a broiler on high for a couple minutes. Alright, so once it's done in the oven and the cheese starts to get a little brown on top, then you'll just take your tongs, take your chicken parm, transfer it over to a plate. Dinner is served. And that's how you make a chicken parmesan from scratch. Hope you enjoyed the video and get to try it out for yourself. Thank you.